Hey family, good day. I am Okbayemi Afolabi. On today's episode of The People's TV, I'll be talking about comparison of children. And with me in the studio today, I have Mr. Sorry, your name, sir?
Mr. SHONUBI Olawale Babatunde.
Mr. Shonubi Olawale Babatunde. It's good to have you here, sir. Thanks for
Nice.
coming. We'll dive directly into the question. The first question is, why do parents and educators often compare children?
I think the major reasons, one could be personal, could be as a function of behavioral patterns or characters of children. If a child behaves very well, they can use him or her to assess his peers. And if a child is not doing well, they can equally use him or her to compare his peers. But objectively, it is not a good thing to assess a child with another because everybody has his own traits. Everybody has his own upbringing. Everybody has his own line and pattern of life. If you are to do the comparison, most parents, I think, may be wrong comparing children, but people do it not willingly, but out of the fact that they just need to use it as an assessment. And actually, whether you like it or not, it's part of life to assess one another with one human being or the other.
But
Even
sir,
with
what are the
adults.
psychological effects it have on the children?
When you compare a child with another, it may have a negative impact generally, but sometimes you can use comparison to mentor a child.
In what way, sir?
Yes. If that child see a father figure or see a good figure in that person that is being compared with, he may be forced to change.
Okay.
That's one advantage of comparison. For example, if a child is doing very well in the field of academics, name it works of trade, mechanic, engineering, you may be surprised. That child may say, I can do better than Mr. So-so-so's son. I can do better than this. Okay, after all, Mr. So-so person child is doing it. I think I can do better. You understand? At the end of the day, that child may be encouraged.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, that child is encouraged. He has used the comparison as at that time in question to evaluate and assess himself to do better or to perform better. But on the other way round, it could kill the morality of a child.
Exactly. That's the psychological effect.
If it is not properly guided, it could downplay the morality or kill the morality of a child. And if a child's moral is being killed, you understand, the best will not be gotten out of that child anymore. You understand?
Okay. So what are some of the signs that a child is being negatively affected by comparison?
One of the major signs most times could be assessed in the classroom. For example, in the mathematical class or mathematics class, whereby A score 100, B score maybe 50 or less than 50, or is not doing well. And it may eventually be avoiding the class. You understand? But at the same time, if it's a child that wants to grow and develop, he may use it as a stepping stone to want to do better. You understand? And actually, it is not good to do, especially in the class, it's not good to do comparison in the class. You take up a child that's not doing too good or doing too well, you give him an independent performance.
Okay.
You give him an avenue where he could be retrained or retutored so that he can measure up. He or she can measure up. And once that is done, that child can pick two from there.
Okay.
So,
But some of our teachers, they do that in the class a lot, and I don't think it's a good thing. They'll be like, hey, look at John, he's doing better. I'm teaching you the same thing, but you're not even coping, you're not even catching up. Is it out of frustration they say those things, or why do teachers do say that?
what happens with more especially teachers of nowadays is that most teachers are not born teachers. What I mean by born teachers is that teachers that have passed through either College of Education or educational academic courses have been trained psychologically not to do that in the classroom. But whereby you have teachers that just graduated without any educational skills or background or psychological background, they may be tempted to do so. And whether you like it or not, we are human beings.
Yeah.
Human beings, like every teacher or any person, can do error without noticing it is doing error. You may be thinking he's doing a yabis or cracking a joke. It could be an expensive joke on the and have an effect on the child, on the so-called child. So unknowingly to the teacher, he doesn't know he's doing the wrong thing as at that time, unknowingly. But at the same time, a good tutor, a good teacher will never use that as a measure. Instead, the teacher will work on the student independently and bring him or her back to the fold of the class.
That's for the teacher that have patient
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. Not just patient enough, a well-trained
Trained
teacher.
teacher. Not just
So
a
that's
secondary
just
school student that's just finding herself into teaching.
into teaching. Not just secondary school. There are some graduates too that don't have teaching skills. They don't have passing on educational skills. They may be guilty or once upon a time be guilty of the same offense. You understand? They are different from people that have been trained as teachers.
Another question goes to sir. What role does social media play in increasing comparisons among children today?
It depends on the social media that you are talking about.
Okay.
For example, there are encourageable platforms on social media that encourages child or children to learn from one another or to learn from the social media space.
Okay.
There are some too that discourages. A lot that encourages are there on the social pages where a grandma or a grandpa is sharing an advice with a child on the platform and you can imitate or communicate via that to a child and that child will understand. But there are some that could kill or will not rekindle a child's spirit to do better in life. You understand? So that will be reducing the tempo in a child. You understand? Okay. And if a child go on sites that are not educational, that are mischievous or less educational, immoral sites, such sites will not be good for a child. So you need to monitor children from going to, or stopping children from going to such sites.
Okay, so.
So there are a lot of sites that are very educative in nature that children can
use and
learn.
Okay, so what are the ways that teachers, the educators and parents can actually use to motivate the children without comparing them to their peers? Like, I want to motivate the child. I mustn't compare him or her to someone else just to get that motivation. What are the other ways that can be properly done, not the comparison method?
One of the first major ways, as a child in the house or as your child, you give him moral values, him or her moral values.
Moral values like?
What are the things that is expected of him or her in the society? What are the things he should not do? What are the things he should do at home? Way of greeting, way of life generally. Then aside from that, I don't always buy into it, but I believe it is strong. It is the religion aspect of it. Whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, you teach your child in the way of God or in the way of Almighty Allah. Okay. So that will act as a guide for a child to grow. And the holy books have it. Teach your child the way you should grow. You understand?
Yes, and they will not depart from it.
They will not depart from it.
I think I
so
see that.
That's that one from religious perspective. But at the same time, there are family values that can be inculcated into children that it may still come under comparison. When you are telling them your family story or your family lineage, Maybe you start from your grandfather or great-grandfather, and they are heroes, and they are warriors, and all the rest. And they are merchants, and the kind of business they do, the kind of war they have been to, and all the rest. And they are good hunters, and all the rest. Or they are good farmers. You understand? It will encourage a child to pick from his or her lineage,
Okay.
and allowing children to visit monumental places and historical places too can encourage children to do well. There are a lot of places they can visit here in Lagos or Nigeria that can make a child develop, not just keeping them at home. So that's just it.
Thank you very much for that. If you are just joining us, I will say welcome. This is the People's TV. Always stay tuned. Remember to subscribe, comment, and share. Also, there is a social media platform that you can follow the People's TV on TikTok, on Facebook, and on Twitter. The People's TV. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Shonubi, what should parents do if one child consistently or outperforms another academically? What can a parent do?
To improve the one that is not coming up.
Yes.
Mm,
Not this guy. You know how African man, see your older brother, he's doing very well academically. Look at you, you're a dollar, you're this, you're that.
you encourage such child, and there are a lot of ways which you can encourage such child.
How can that be done without comparison?
You don't need to do comparison.
Okay.
But I will say I'm guilty of comparison in the past because I have a young girl that is doing better than his elder brother.
Okay.
But that may not be compared, it's warning, and I warned. I told him, your younger sister may outwit you or smart you, and if you don't take time, she may graduate before you. And eventually they graduated together almost the same year. You understand? After my warning. But if he himself has not heeded to that warning, maybe himself wouldn't have been a graduate. But undermining that, I think what happened is that if a child is not doing well, there are things you need to get for him or her. There are things you need to get for him or her. First, maybe a laptop, a system, a personal teacher, a teacher to you have given his background to that will bring him up in areas that is lacking, and you make the child to read and be a friend to that child.
Okay, thank you very much for breaking that down. Now, if you could leave my listeners with a key message about comparison and not compare, what would you tell my viewers out there?
I would strongly agitate that our five fingers are proverbial. Individually, God has spoken to us with our five fingers. We are not born the same day. We are not equally created, and the five fingers are not equal. So what the little finger can do, this other fatter thumb may not be able to do it. What this other fatter thumb will do, the little finger might not be able to do. So we are not born to excel or accelerate at the same pace or space. You understand? So proverbially, we are not born equally. We are not born and we are not talented equally. We may not be able to do things the same way at all times. So where A may be useful, B may not be useful there. Where B may be useful, D may not be useful there.
That means every parent should know the potential talent each child has and help them develop it instead of the comparison. That's a very good one, Mr. Shonubi. Thanks for breaking that down. To my family out there, the parents, the educators, we use this medium to tell you that instead of comparing the child, there are other ways, like Mr. Shonubi mentioned, you can use to motivate the child for them to do better and become somebody you want them to be in society. That will be all for today's episode. Thank you for staying tuned. Remember to subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you very much. I remain Okpeyemi Afolabi, and this is the People's TV.